You've probably heard about people splitting the cost of a burrito into 4 payments.
What?
And yes, it is kind of funny to joke about this, but this is actually a huge warning for things to come. So let's take a look at the dark world of buy now, pay later, and what it might mean for you and your wallet in the next 12 months.
I'm on a 6-month payment plan for the coffee I had this morning.
You can now buy your Starbucks, Chipotle, and anything on the DoorDash app as a buy now, pay later option.
But before we can begin picking apart the predatory models of Klarna, Afterpay, and even DoorDash, we need to ask ourselves an important question. Why are people suddenly using loans to pay for burritos? This idea of buying things in smaller payments has been around since 1807, but has only recently really started to take off. But if we fast forward to today, the entire buy now, pay later market has bought over $175 billion of goods, but we aren't using it just for the bigger items. You've likely noticed lately that anytime you buy something online, you have a buy now, pay later option. Here's why. Buy now, pay later apps like Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm are on almost every checkout page because data shows that people are 20 to 30% more likely to make a purchase when a BNPL service is offered. And these companies just want you to click buy, so it makes sense that they're adding the option, and why you're seeing them everywhere. Affirm brags in their marketing that a BNPL option on your website increases revenue by 14% on average, with that number rising to 21% on items over $250. Whether it's at Verizon getting a new phone, or Amazon where you can finance a $20 water bottle, a $10 waffle maker, or maybe just an emotional support pickle, buy now, pay later is everywhere. Some credit cards even started offering buy now, pay later options built into their cards. They're pretty intentional about how they market to people. Ads are filled with clever graphics and images of young people spending money and having fun. Look at this New York City subway ad that says smaller payments are cute. Well, financial ruin is not. PayPal just did a funny commercial with Will Ferrell to let everyone know they accept buy now, pay later.
I used PayPal to buy this ticket, and I'm paying it off in 4 payments. No fees, no interest.
There are tons of TikToks talking about financing dozens of items at once, like it's some sort of joke for future me to worry about. The clever marketing has resonated with 3 groups: millennials, Gen Z, and poor people. Data from Numerator indicates that BNPL users tend to be Gen Z or millennial multicultural urban families earning under $60,000 per year. But what might be the most concerning part of all of this is what people are buying with these services. Numerator also collected data that showed that the most common buy now, pay later purchases in the last year were, in order, clothing and fashion, then electronics and gadgets, then furniture, then home appliances. Heck, half the people who went to Coachella paid for their ticket on buy now, pay later plans. Now, it's all well and good to blame this huge explosion in small consumer installment loans on silly young people and their needless consumerism. And yeah, that's a part of it. But I've omitted a key piece of data, and that's the 19% of people who are using these buy now, pay later services for groceries and other household items. I mean, Costco just announced they are starting with buy now, pay later too. You've all seen the memes about people buying a pizza or a burrito in a 4-step installment, but when you think about it, it's kind of dark. The truth is, 57% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck, and the rise in prices of even the most basic foods hasn't helped things. We're super familiar with this sort of thing. And if you're struggling with debt, especially credit card, you should check out this video. Almost all of us are having to make our money stretch a lot further than previous generations. And if splitting up the cost of a $15 DoorDash order into monthly installments means you have a little more wiggle room, why not go for it, right? But no matter where you stand on how people spend their money, there is a big problem, and that is that people can't pay it back. According to LendingTree, 2 out of 5 BNPL users say they paid late in the past year. And according to Bankrate, half of the users report issues like overspending, missed payments, or regret. Even more alarmingly, according to some reports, 30% of US BNPL loans are now 30+ days past due. But who cares? It's 0% interest, right? Well, not really. If you miss a payment, interest will start to kick in pretty quickly, and it can range from 10 to 36%. If it's higher than 30%, it would have been better to put it on a credit card because those interest rates are usually in the mid 20% range. With Klarna, you could be slapped with up to $7 for every missed payment. So if you pick up a $200 item in 4 $50 chunks and miss 2 payments, you'd rack up $14 in late fees on top of the $100 you still owe if your interest rate was 14%. It might not sound like much, especially if you're using it for smaller items, but trust me, it adds up really fast. And soon, it will even begin hurting your credit score. So these companies have to be making a lot of money, right? Well, no. Klarna saw a net loss of $100 million in the first 3 months of 2025. That's up 100% from the year before, simply because customers weren't paying back their bills. And if the biggest buy now, pay later app is having problems, it's easy to imagine that many of the other apps are having problems too, which is a big problem when so many stores are relying on these installment services to make a sale. The buy now, pay later market is expected to hit $576 billion globally in 2025. That's the size of the entire economy of Ireland, and it's likely not going away anytime soon despite all these issues. And when a lot of people stop spending, suddenly things are heading towards a deep recession. It could be a really slippery slope. But it's not all doom and gloom because, at least recently, the default rate for BNPL were significantly lower than they were for credit cards, which means most users are still making their payments on time. Regardless, the Wild West is coming to an end. Both the UK and Australia are tightening the screws on BNPL, with the UK now requiring affordability checks, and Australia mandating credit licensing and full credit checks starting in June. Even US regulators are signaling that oversight is about to ramp up. And for whether or not you could continue using these services, the answer is a tentative, well, maybe? It can be a useful tool if you treat it like a short-term loan and stick strictly to your budget. But its slick marketing and light regulation make it all too easy to borrow more than you can repay. If you're already on the hook, carve out a repayment plan now and set calendar reminders. Good luck out there, and we'll see you for the next one.